Steps must happen in order. Others can run parallel. This insight helps you sequence your efforts efficiently. You avoid wasting time on premature actions. You identify the critical path to your goal. This method works for any ambition, career changes, creative projects, personal relationships. The key is specificity. Don't just imagine success. Define it precisely. What does it look like, feel like, sound like? The clearer your end point, the clearer your path becomes. Reframe problems as opportunities. Reframe problems as opportunities means changing your perspective on challenges. Problems feel heavy. They drain energy. They create stress. But every problem contains hidden potential. The question is how to unlock it. This mental shift transforms your entire approach. Instead of avoiding problems, you start seeking them out. Instead of feeling defeated, you feel curious. Consider job loss. It's devastating at first. But it could be the push you needed to find better work. Or start that business you dreamed about. The same crisis that breaks one person makes another stronger. The difference is how they frame it. Reframing isn't about toxic positivity. It's not pretending problems don't hurt. It's about finding the growth within the pain. Every obstacle teaches something. Every setback reveals weakness that can become strength. Every rejection points toward a better fit. The practice is simple but not easy. When facing a problem, pause. Ask yourself questions. What could this teach me? How might this redirect me toward something better? What skills will I develop solving this? Who might I meet along the way? What opportunities might open up? This mental habit builds resilience. It keeps you moving forward when others give up. It helps you spot possibilities that pessimists miss. Over time, you start seeing problems differently. They become puzzles to solve rather than burdens to carry. Use negative visualization. Use negative visualization means imagining loss to appreciate what you have. This ancient Stoic practice sounds depressing. But it's actually liberating. Most anxiety comes from fearing loss. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if it all goes wrong? Negative visualization faces these fears directly. You imagine the worst happening. Then you realize you'd survive. Start small. Imagine losing your phone for a day. How would you cope? You'd find ways to communicate. You'd be less distracted. You might even enjoy the break. This exercise reduces your attachment to the device. It shows you're more resilient than you thought. Apply this to bigger fears. Imagine losing your job. Scary at first. But as you think it through, you see options. Savings to fall back on. Skills to leverage. Networks to activate. New directions to explore. The fear loses its grip when you see you have resources. Negative visualization also breeds gratitude. When you imagine losing your health, you appreciate feeling strong. When you picture losing loved ones, you cherish time together. This isn't morbid thinking. It's realistic preparation. Life is fragile. Changes come without warning. By mentally rehearsing loss, you build emotional resilience. The practice also reveals what truly matters. Some things you thought essential become optional. Others you barely notice become precious. This clarity helps you focus on what deserves your energy and attention. Use the 5-minute start trick. Use the 5-minute start trick means committing to tiny beginnings. The biggest barrier to action is starting. Tasks feel overwhelming. The mountain looks too high to climb. But you don't need to climb the whole mountain today. You just need to take the first step. 5 minutes worth of steps. This trick works because it bypasses resistance. Your brain can handle 5 minutes of anything. Writing feels impossible. But 5 minutes of writing? That's manageable. Exercise seems daunting. But 5 minutes of movement? Easy. The commitment is so small that excuses disappear. Here's what usually happens. You start for 5 minutes. Momentum builds. The task becomes less scary. Often, you keep going beyond 5 minutes. But even if you stop, you've made progress. 5 minutes daily adds up quickly. Small actions compound into big results. The key is keeping the bar low. Don't extend the time too quickly. Don't turn 5 minutes into an hour. That defeats the purpose. The goal is consistency, not intensity. Better to write for 5 minutes every day than for 3 hours once a week. This technique works for any avoided task. Cleaning the house. Learning a skill. Having difficult conversations. Building relationships. Starting creative projects. 5 minutes removes the pressure. It makes everything feel possible. Visualize success in detail. Visualize success in detail means creating vivid mental movies of achievement. Generic visualization doesn't work well. Vague images lack power. But detailed visualization engages your whole brain. It makes success feel real and attainable. Your subconscious starts believing it's possible. This belief drives behavior in subtle but powerful ways. Don't just picture the end result. Imagine the entire experience. What are you wearing? Who's there with you? What sounds do you hear? What emotions are you feeling? What does success smell like? Taste like? The more senses you engage, the stronger the mental blueprint becomes. Practice this regularly. Spend 5 minutes each morning visualizing your successful day. See yourself handling challenges with confidence. Imagine conversations going well. Picture tasks being completed smoothly. Feel the satisfaction of progress made. This mental rehearsal primes you for actual success. Detailed visualization also reveals obstacles you hadn't considered. In your mental movie, you might see yourself getting distracted, or running out of time, or facing unexpected resistance. This foresight lets you plan solutions ahead of time. You become prepared rather than surprised. The technique works because your brain treats vivid imagination similarly to real experience. Mental practice creates neural pathways. These pathways make actual performance easier. Athletes use this principle constantly. They visualize perfect technique. Then their bodies follow the mental blueprint. Ask, what's the simplest next step? Ask, what's the simplest next step, means breaking down overwhelm into action. Big goals paralyze us. They seem impossible to achieve. We don't know where to start. So we don't start at all. This question cuts through the confusion. It forces you to find one simple action. Just one. The smallest possible move forward. The magic is in the word simplest. Not the best step. Not the most important step. The simplest step. Something so easy you can't make excuses. So small it feels almost silly. Maybe it's opening a document. Making a phone call. Sending an email. Writing one sentence. This approach builds momentum. Simple steps lead to more steps. Action creates energy. Energy sustains motivation. Before you know it, you're making real progress. The impossible goal starts feeling achievable. One simple step at a time. The question also cuts through perfectionism. Perfectionists get stuck planning the perfect approach. They analyze every option. They never start because no option feels perfect enough. But asking for the simplest step sidesteps this trap. It's not about perfect. It's about possible. Use this question whenever you feel stuck. Facing a big project. What's the simplest next step? Wanting to improve your health. What's the simplest next step? Hoping to strengthen relationships. What's the simplest next step? The answer is always there. You just have to ask. Break tasks into micro steps. Break tasks into micro steps means making everything ridiculously small. Most people underestimate how small steps can be. They break a project into 5 parts. But those parts are still too big. Real micro steps are tiny. Atomic. So small they seem almost pointless. But they're not pointless. They're powerful. Consider writing a report. A normal person might break it into research, outline, draft, and edit. But these are still major tasks. Micro steps go further. Open document. Write title. Write first sentence. Find one source. Read one page. Each step takes minutes, not hours. Why go so small? Because small steps eliminate resistance. Your brain doesn't fight tiny actions. They slip past your procrastination defenses. They don't trigger overwhelm. They don't require motivation. They just require a moment of attention. Micro steps also provide frequent wins. Each completed step gives you a hit of accomplishment. These small victories build confidence. They prove you can make progress. They create positive momentum that carries you forward to bigger steps. The technique works especially well for avoided tasks. Things you've been putting off for weeks become manageable. The task that felt impossible yesterday becomes a series of simple actions today. You start completing things that used to defeat you. Remember, the goal isn't to make everything easy. It's to make everything possible. Micro steps remove the barriers between you and action. Ask better questions. Ask better questions means upgrading the inquiries you make to yourself and others. Most questions are weak. They lead to weak answers. They keep you stuck in shallow thinking. But powerful questions unlock breakthrough insights. They shift your perspective. They reveal possibilities you missed. They drive you toward solutions instead of keeping you trapped in problems. Poor questions focus on blame. Why me? Whose fault is this? Why is this so hard? These questions feel natural when frustrated. But they don't help. They make you feel worse. They keep you spinning in negativity. Better questions focus on possibility. What can I learn from this? How might I approach this differently? What would someone I admire do here? What's one small experiment I could try? These questions move you forward. They generate options. They unlock creativity. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your thinking. Ask limiting questions, get limiting answers. Ask expansive questions, get expansive answers. Your brain is incredibly powerful, but it needs good prompts to do its best work. Practice this daily. When facing challenges, pause before reacting. Ask yourself what question would be most helpful right now. Often, the right question reveals the answer immediately. Sometimes it points you toward useful research or conversations. Always, it moves you closer to solutions. Rehearse difficult conversations. Rehearse difficult conversations means practicing important discussions before they happen. Most people avoid tough conversations. They hope problems will resolve themselves. They don't. Problems grow when ignored. But difficult conversations feel scary because we're unprepared. We don't know what to say. We fear making things worse. Mental rehearsal solves these problems. Start by writing out the key points you want to make. Keep them simple and clear. Focus on your feelings, not accusations. I feel frustrated when deadlines are missed works better than, you always miss deadlines. Practice these phrases until they feel natural. Anticipate the other person's reactions. How might they respond? What objections will they raise? What emotions might surface? Prepare thoughtful responses for each scenario. This prevents you from getting caught off guard or becoming defensive. Rehearse out loud, not just in your head. Talk to a mirror. Record yourself. Practice with a trusted friend. Hearing the words makes them feel more real. It reveals awkward phrasing you wouldn't notice otherwise. It builds confidence through repetition. Set a clear intention for the conversation. What outcome do you want? Better communication? Changed behavior? Mutual understanding? Keep this goal in mind during rehearsal. It helps you stay focused on what matters most rather than getting sidetracked by emotions. Anchor new habits to existing ones. Anchor new habits to existing ones means attaching new behaviors to established routines. Willpower is unreliable. Motivation comes and goes. But habits run on autopilot. They don't require decisions. They just happen. The trick is building new habits by connecting them to old ones. This technique is called habit stacking. Pick a habit you already do consistently. Brushing teeth. Making coffee. Checking email. These are your anchors. They're already programmed into your routine. Now attach a new habit immediately before or after the anchor. The sequence becomes automatic. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will write 3 things I'm grateful for. The coffee triggers the gratitude practice. You don't have to remember separately. The established habit reminds you. This removes the burden from your memory and willpower. Choose anchors that match the timing and energy of your new habit. Don't attach meditation to rushing out the door. Don't pair reading with late-night exhaustion. Match high-energy new habits with high-energy anchors. Match calm habits with calm anchors. Start with tiny new habits. 1 push-up after brushing teeth. 1 page of reading after dinner. 1 deep breath before checking phone. Small habits stick better than big ones. You can always expand later once the pattern is established. Be specific about the sequence. Before I sit down at my desk is better than in the morning. Precision prevents confusion. It makes the habit chain stronger and more automatic. Focus on systems, not just goals. Focus on systems, not just goals means building processes that create continuous improvement. Goals tell you where you want to go. But systems get you there. A goal is running a marathon. A system is training consistently. A goal is writing a book. A system is writing every day. Goals provide direction. Systems provide progress. Goals have problems. They're binary. You either achieve them or you don't. This creates pressure and potential disappointment. Goals also have endpoints. Once reached, motivation often disappears. You achieve your target weight, then gain it back. You finish your project, then struggle to start the next one. Systems are different. They focus on the process, not the outcome. They create identity change. You don't just want to run a marathon. You become a runner. You don't just want to write a book. You become a writer. This identity shift sustains behavior long-term. Good systems have regular feedback loops. Daily or weekly check-ins. Measurements that matter. Adjustments based on what you learn. This keeps you on track without the pressure of distant goals. Progress becomes visible and motivating. Systems also handle setbacks better. Miss a goal and you feel like a failure. Miss a day in your system and you just get back to it tomorrow. Systems expect imperfection. They're designed for humans, not robots. They bend without breaking. Apply Parkinson's law. Apply Parkinson's law means using time constraints to increase efficiency. The law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Give yourself a week for a task, it takes a week. Give yourself a day, it takes a day. Often, the quality remains similar. This reveals how much time we waste through unnecessary perfectionism and procrastination. Most people think more time means better results. Sometimes this is true. But often, more time just means more overthinking. More second-guessing. More delay. Tight deadlines force decisions. They eliminate options paralysis. They push you to focus on what truly matters. Start by cutting your time estimates in half. That report you plan to spend 4 hours on. Try 2 hours. That project you allocated 2 weeks for. Try 1 week. You'll be surprised how often this works. You'll find shortcuts you didn't know existed. You'll stop obsessing over minor details. The law works because pressure clarifies priorities. When time is unlimited, everything feels important. When time is scarce, only the essential survives. You naturally focus on high-impact activities. You eliminate busy work. You make faster decisions. Use artificial deadlines even when real ones don't exist. Tell someone when you'll deliver. Schedule the presentation. Create accountability. External pressure often works better than internal pressure. It makes the deadline feel real and urgent. Reframe "I have to" into "I get to." Reframe "I have to" into "I get to" means shifting from obligation to opportunity. Language shapes perception. The words you use internally create your emotional experience. Have to feels heavy, restrictive, resentful. Get to feels light, privileged, grateful. Same activity, different energy. I have to go to work versus I get to go to work. The first implies burden. The second implies opportunity. You get to contribute. You get to earn. You get to interact with people. You get to solve problems. The reframe reveals hidden benefits you typically ignore. I have to exercise versus I get to exercise. One sounds like punishment. The other sounds like privilege. You get to move your body. You get to build strength. You get to clear your mind. You get to take care of yourself. The opportunity mindset makes action easier. This isn't toxic positivity. Some situations genuinely are burdens. But many things we label as obligations are actually privileges. We just don't see them that way. The reframe helps you spot the good within the required. Practice this consciously. Catch yourself saying, have to, and pause. Ask what you get to do instead. What opportunities exist within this obligation? What would someone without this option think? Often, the shift in language creates an immediate shift in mood and motivation. Gamify boring tasks. Gamify boring tasks means adding game elements to mundane activities. Games are engaging because they provide clear goals, immediate feedback, and progressive challenges. Regular tasks lack these elements. They feel pointless and draining. But you can inject game mechanics to make them more motivating and fun. Create scoring systems. Give yourself points for completing tasks. Small tasks earn fewer points. Big tasks earn more. Keep a running total. Compete against your past performance. This turns productivity into a measurable game with clear winners and losers. Set up levels and achievements. Beginners might answer 10 emails to reach level 2. Intermediate players might clear their entire inbox for a bonus achievement. Advanced players might maintain inbox 0 for a week straight. Each level brings new challenges and recognition. Add time challenges. How fast can you clean your desk? Can you beat yesterday's time? Racing against the clock creates urgency and engagement. It turns slow tasks into speed challenges. Just be sure to maintain quality while increasing pace. Use rewards strategically. Complete 5 difficult tasks and earn a coffee break. Finish the weekly report and enjoy a favorite snack. Make rewards proportional to effort. Small tasks get small rewards. Big tasks get bigger ones. This creates positive reinforcement cycles that sustain motivation. Right before feeling ready. Right before feeling ready means starting when preparation feels incomplete. Most people wait for perfect conditions. The right mood. The right moment. Complete clarity. But these conditions rarely align. Meanwhile, the blank page remains blank. The project stays unfinished. The idea never becomes reality. Readiness is often an illusion. You think you need more research, more planning, more inspiration. But what you really need is practice. Writing teaches you what you think. It reveals gaps in your knowledge. It shows you what questions to ask next. You can't get this insight without starting. Professional writers understand this. They don't wait for inspiration. They write regularly whether they feel like it or not. They know that writing generates ideas, not the other way around. The act of putting words on paper clarifies thinking. It moves projects forward even when progress feels slow. Start messy. Write badly. Let thoughts flow without editing. The goal is motion, not perfection. You can always improve later. But you can't improve nothing. A messy first draft beats a perfect blank page every time. Set small writing goals. 1 paragraph. 5 minutes. 3 sentences. Something so achievable you can't make excuses. Once you start, momentum often carries you further. But even if it doesn't, you've made progress. Small progress compounds over time into major accomplishments. Apply the 1% daily improvement rule. Apply the 1% daily improvement rule means making tiny gains that compound over time. Most people want dramatic change overnight. They try to transform everything at once. This approach fails because it's unsustainable. Your brain resists big changes. Your habits fight back. You burn out quickly and return to old patterns. 1% improvement is different. It's barely noticeable. Your resistance doesn't activate. The change feels so small it doesn't trigger fear or overwhelm. But small improvements compound like interest. 1% better each day means you're 37 times better after 1 year. The math is stunning. Think about any skill you want to develop. Writing, speaking, exercising, leading. You don't need to improve dramatically today. You just need to get slightly better than yesterday. Read one more page. Do one more repetition. Have one better conversation. These micro improvements accumulate into major transformation. The rule works because it focuses on process over outcome. You're not trying to become perfect. You're trying to become slightly better. This removes pressure. It makes improvement feel achievable. It creates positive momentum that builds on itself. Track your improvements to see the compound effect. Keep a simple log. Note what you did today that was 1% better than yesterday. Over weeks and months, you'll see remarkable progress. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable through consistent micro gains. Think in probabilities, not absolutes. Think in probabilities, not absolutes means embracing uncertainty as a natural part of decision-making. Most people crave certainty. They want guarantees. They look for absolute answers. But life rarely provides them. This creates anxiety and paralysis. You wait for perfect information that never comes. You delay decisions hoping for certainty that doesn't exist. Probability thinking is more realistic. It acknowledges uncertainty while still enabling action. Instead of asking, will this work, ask, what are the chances this will work? Instead of needing guarantees, estimate likelihoods. This shift reduces anxiety and improves decision quality. Consider career moves. You can't know absolutely that a new job will be better. But you can estimate probabilities. Based on your research, interviews, and gut feeling, maybe there's a 70% chance it will improve your situation. That's good enough to act on. Perfect certainty isn't required. Probability thinking also improves learning from outcomes. When something goes wrong, you don't assume your decision was bad. You consider whether it was just the 30% chance playing out. This prevents overreaction to single events. It helps you stay focused on long-term patterns rather than short-term noise. Practice estimating probabilities for daily decisions. What's the chance of rain? How likely is traffic to be heavy? Will this meeting run long? These small exercises train your probability thinking muscles. Keep a done list. Keep a done list means tracking accomplishments instead of just tracking tasks. To-do lists are everywhere. They help organize work. But they also create a treadmill effect. You check things off, add new things on. The list never empties. This can feel discouraging. You focus on what's left undone instead of what you've achieved. A done list flips this dynamic. At the end of each day, write down what you accomplished. Big things and small things. Important tasks and routine ones. Meetings attended. Emails answered. Problems solved. People helped. This creates a record of progress that's easy to forget otherwise. Done lists boost motivation. They provide evidence of productivity when you feel like you're spinning your wheels. They remind you that you're making progress even when the to-do list stays long. They help you see patterns in your most productive activities. Review your done list weekly. Look for themes. What types of tasks do you complete most easily? Which ones consistently get delayed? This insight helps you plan better. You can schedule difficult tasks during your peak energy times. You can eliminate or delegate tasks that drain you unnecessarily. Done lists also help in performance reviews and interviews. Instead of struggling to remember your accomplishments, you have a detailed record. You can speak confidently about your contributions because you've been tracking them consistently. Practice active recall. Practice active recall means testing your memory instead of just reviewing material. Most people learn passively. They read notes, highlight textbooks, watch videos. This feels like learning because information goes into your brain. But it doesn't stick well. Passive review creates an illusion of knowledge. You recognize information when you see it but can't recall it when you need it. Active recall is different. It forces you to retrieve information from memory. Close the book and try to explain the concept. Cover the answer and solve the problem. Quiz yourself on key points. This retrieval practice strengthens memory pathways. It reveals gaps in understanding that passive review misses. The technique works because forgetting is part of learning. When you struggle to remember something, then successfully recall it, the memory becomes stronger. Easy review doesn't create this strengthening effect. Your brain needs the challenge of retrieval to build lasting knowledge. Use active recall for any learning goal. Studying for exams. Learning new skills. Remembering names. Mastering procedures. Instead of reading the same material repeatedly, test yourself frequently. Ask questions. Try to teach the concept to someone else. Explain it out loud to yourself. Make this practice regular. Spend less time reading and more time recalling. Quiz yourself daily on recent learning. Review older material through active testing rather than passive reading. This approach takes more effort initially but saves time long-term by creating stronger, more durable memories. Teach it to learn it. Teach it to learn it means using explanation as a tool for deeper understanding. When you teach something, you process it differently than when you just learn it. Teaching forces you to organize information clearly. You must identify the most important points. You need to explain complex ideas simply. This process reveals gaps in your knowledge and strengthens what you do understand. The act of teaching activates different parts of your brain. You're not just receiving information. You're actively reconstructing it. You're anticipating questions. You're thinking about how to make concepts clear to someone else. This mental work deepens your own comprehension. You don't need a formal classroom to use this technique. Explain concepts to friends. Write blog posts about what you're learning. Create presentations for colleagues. Record videos for yourself. Even explaining to an imaginary audience works. The key is articulating your understanding in words. Teaching also forces you to simplify. Complex jargon won't work when explaining to beginners. You must find clear, simple language. This simplification process often leads to breakthrough insights. You discover the core essence of ideas that seemed complicated before. Use this method for any subject you want to master. New software. Business strategies. Creative techniques. Scientific concepts. The more you practice explaining these topics, the better you understand them. Teaching becomes a powerful tool for your own learning and development. Focus on high-leverage activities. Focus on high-leverage activities means identifying actions that produce disproportionate results. Not all work is equal. Some tasks create massive impact with minimal effort. Others consume time and energy while producing little value. The key is learning to distinguish between them. Then ruthlessly prioritizing the high-leverage activities. High-leverage activities often involve systems, relationships, and skills. Building a good system saves time repeatedly. Nurturing key relationships opens multiple opportunities. Developing valuable skills compounds over years. These investments pay dividends long after the initial effort. Low-leverage activities feel productive but don't move the needle. Checking email constantly. Attending unnecessary meetings. Perfecting unimportant details. These tasks keep you busy without creating meaningful progress toward your goals. To identify high-leverage activities, ask powerful questions. What would happen if I stopped doing this completely? Which of my activities create the most value? What tasks, if done excellently, would make everything else easier? The answers point toward your highest leverage opportunities. Protect time for high-leverage work. Schedule it first. Defend it from interruptions. Say no to low-leverage requests that compete for this precious time. This might feel uncomfortable initially. You'll seem less busy. But you'll accomplish far more of what actually matters. Apply the 80-20 rule ruthlessly. Apply the 80-20 rule ruthlessly means identifying the vital few among the trivial many. The Pareto principle states that roughly 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. This pattern appears everywhere. 20% of customers generate 80% of revenue. 20% of activities produce 80% of happiness. 20% of problems cause 80% of stress. Most people spread effort evenly across all activities. This is inefficient. It treats important and unimportant tasks equally. Ruthless application means dramatically different treatment. You spend most time and energy on the vital 20%. You minimize or eliminate the trivial 80%. Start by identifying your 20% in different life areas. Which relationships bring the most joy? Which work tasks create the most value? Which possessions do you actually use? Which activities energize you most? These are your vital few. They deserve premium attention and resources. Next, examine your trivial 80%. What can you eliminate completely? What can you delegate? What can you do with minimal effort? Be honest about activities that feel important but don't actually matter. Social obligations that drain you. Projects that seem urgent but aren't valuable. Habits that consume time without creating benefit. This approach requires saying no frequently. You'll disappoint some people. You'll miss some opportunities. But you'll excel at what matters most. Your results will improve dramatically because you're focusing energy where it counts. Keep a decision journal. Keep a decision journal means recording your choices and the reasoning behind them. Most people make decisions then forget about them. They don't track outcomes. They don't learn from patterns. This wastes valuable feedback that could improve future decision-making. A decision journal captures this learning opportunity. Write down important decisions when you make them. Include the options you considered. Note the factors that influenced your choice. Record your prediction about the outcome. Capture your confidence level. This snapshot preserves your thinking at decision time before results bias your memory. Review entries regularly. Look for patterns in good and bad decisions. What factors consistently led to positive outcomes? Which reasoning patterns created problems? How accurate were your predictions? This analysis reveals your decision-making strengths and blind spots. The journal improves decisions in real time. Knowing you'll record your reasoning makes you think more carefully. It reduces impulsive choices. It encourages you to consider multiple options. It makes your decision process more deliberate and thorough. Focus on consequential decisions. Career moves. Major purchases. Important relationships. Investment choices. Health decisions. Don't journal every minor choice or you'll get overwhelmed. But capture the decisions that significantly impact your life. These are where better decision-making creates the most value. Visualize worst case to reduce anxiety. Visualize worst case to reduce anxiety means confronting fears to diminish their power. Anxiety thrives on uncertainty. Your mind imagines vague disasters. The unknown feels threatening. But when you deliberately visualize specific worst-case scenarios, something interesting happens. They become less scary. You realize you could handle them better than expected. Start with the situation causing anxiety. Maybe it's a job interview. A difficult conversation. A presentation. Instead of avoiding thoughts about what could go wrong, lean into them. What's the absolute worst that could happen? Really think it through. Be specific and realistic. Often, the worst case isn't as bad as your anxious mind suggests. You might embarrass yourself in the presentation. But you wouldn't die. Your career wouldn't end. People would forget quickly. You could recover and try again. This perspective reduces the threat level. Even genuinely bad outcomes become manageable when examined closely. Losing your job is scary. But you have savings. You could find another position. You might even discover better opportunities. You have more resilience and resources than anxiety acknowledges. This visualization also enables preparation. If you know what could go wrong, you can plan responses. Have backup plans. Practice recovery strategies. This preparation further reduces anxiety because you feel more in control. Schedule thinking time. Schedule thinking time means protecting space for reflection and planning. Most people stay constantly busy. They respond to urgent requests all day. They fill every moment with activity. This leaves no time for deep thinking. No space to process information. No opportunity to make connections or generate insights. Thinking time is different from busy work. It's unstructured reflection, strategic planning, creative exploration, problem solving without interruption. This mental space is where breakthrough ideas emerge, where important decisions get made, where scattered thoughts become clear direction. Block specific times for thinking. Put it on your calendar like any important meeting. Protect this time from interruptions. Turn off notifications. Find a quiet space. Let people know you're unavailable. Treat thinking time as seriously as you treat client meetings or important calls. Use this time flexibly. Sometimes plan upcoming projects. Sometimes reflect on recent experiences. Sometimes just let your mind wander. Different types of thinking serve different purposes. Planning creates clarity. Reflection creates learning. Wandering creates unexpected connections. Start small if thinking time feels uncomfortable. Even 15 minutes daily makes a difference. Gradually increase as you see the value. Many successful people credit regular thinking time as crucial to their achievements. They don't just work harder. They think better about their work. Use if-then planning. Use if-then planning means preparing responses to anticipated situations. Most plans assume everything will go smoothly. They don't account for obstacles, distractions, or changing circumstances. When problems arise, you're caught off guard. You make poor decisions under pressure. If-then planning prepares you for likely challenges before they occur. The format is simple. If X happens, then I will do Y. This creates implementation intentions. Pre-made decisions for common scenarios. You're not deciding what to do when stressed or rushed. You're executing a plan you made when thinking clearly. For example, if I feel like skipping my workout, then I will put on my exercise clothes anyway. This removes the decision-making burden when motivation is low. You don't debate whether to exercise. You follow the predetermined plan. If-then plans work because they're specific and actionable. Vague intentions like, I'll eat healthier, don't survive real-world pressures. But, if I'm hungry at 3 p.m., then I will eat the apple one packed, creates clear guidance. It reduces willpower requirements and improves follow-through. Create if-then plans for your most important goals. Anticipate obstacles you're likely to face. Design specific responses. Practice these responses mentally. When challenges arise, you'll be prepared. Your success rate will improve because you've planned for both ideal conditions and reality. Stack habits for growth. Stack habits for growth means building sequences of positive behaviors that reinforce each other. Individual habits are powerful. But habit stacks are exponentially more powerful. They create momentum that carries you through multiple beneficial activities. One good habit triggers the next, creating positive cascades throughout your day. Start with a foundational habit you already do consistently. This becomes your anchor. Then add related habits immediately before or after. The sequence becomes automatic. You don't make separate decisions for each habit. You execute the entire stack as one routine. For example, a morning stack might be, wake up, make bed, drink water, meditate, exercise, shower, review daily priorities. Each step flows naturally to the next. The stack becomes stronger than individual habits because skipping one feels like breaking a chain. Design stacks around specific themes or times. A learning stack for professional development. A health stack for physical well-being. An evening stack for better sleep. This organization makes stacks easier to remember and more likely to stick. Start small and add gradually. Begin with 2 or 3 related habits. Once that sequence feels automatic, add another habit. This prevents overwhelm while building powerful routines. Over time, you'll have extensive stacks that create compound benefits across multiple life areas. Use deadlines as creative constraints. Use deadlines as creative constraints means harnessing time pressure to boost innovation. Most people see deadlines as creativity killers. They believe unlimited time produces better ideas. But research shows the opposite. Constraints often enhance creativity. They force you to think differently. They push you beyond obvious solutions. Deadlines eliminate option paralysis. When time is unlimited, you can pursue any direction. This freedom becomes paralyzing.